Hi everybody, old Gare out here on Table Rock Lake to open up the show today. Boy, we have a bluebird day. My gosh, high sky, a slick, what we call bluebird weather. Man, it's pretty tough fishing. But Brandon and I came out here this morning, picked up several nice big old bluegill. Boy, they're fun to catch on light line this time of the year, and picking up a bass once in a while as well. So we'll be talking about Table Rock. Got a pretty good report from over at Truman once again. And of course, we'll be taking a look at Stockton, Bull Shoals, Taneycomo, Beaver. So we've got some fishing reports for you. By the way, stick around for the whole show, because at the end of the program, Brandon and I have selected some great fishing photos. Good kid stuff I know you're going to enjoy. And also, I want to thank all you viewers last week here on Fishing Chums. On Facebook alone, we had over 15,000 viewers. That's remarkable. God bless you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go fishing. We'll be back at the fishing shack with that fishing report. Let's go fishing.
Fish and Chums!
Okay, welcome out to the old fishing shack, everybody. God bless you all. And once again, I have to say this because it's pretty exciting for us here at Fishing Chums. Thank you for all the viewers out there last week. Well over 15,000. My golly, God bless you. Wow, thank you very much. Got a pretty good show for you. We are in the summer pattern of fishing. Not fantastic, not bad. We have some pretty good reports for you. And stick around everybody, because at the end of the program, Brandon and I have selected some really good photos, some kid stuff, good fishing stuff that I know you're going to enjoy. That's for sure. All right, I tell you what, we have had some pretty good reports out at Beaver Lake. You know, I love Beaver Lake. That's where I caught the biggest striper I ever caught in my life, over 40 pounds. It's a good lake, good lake. And they've had high water all spring and summer, but they're picking up some nice fish out there. In fact, they've been trolling some of the points and secondary points. In fact, look at Robert Smith. He was out a few days ago, picked up this beautiful walleye. Boy, that's a nice fish, Robert Smith, out at Beaver Lake. Good going, good going. And so Beaver, they've been trolling some of the points, secondary points. Some people have drifted some jigging night crawlers out there as well. And so you could pick up a walleye this weekend. It's no huge run. I mean, they're not catching gads and bunches of walleye, but boy, we can catch them like Bob did here, Robert. Hey, it don't take many of those to have a nice mess of walleye. And also, like Brandon and I did this morning, they're doing this out at Beaver too. They're getting out there and catching some big bluegill, folks. They're going out there anywhere from 20, 25, 30 feet of water. Small hook, putting a split shot up above that hook, and maybe about a quarter or a half inch or half a night crawler. Getting down there and just vertically fishing. And boy, they're picking up some nice bluegill at times at Beaver. Once in a while, hybrid, big old nice stripers are being caught there on occasion. And the bass fishing's not too bad. Topwater fishing's been pretty good, and a few crappie are being caught around some of the docks. So Beaver looks good for the upcoming weekend. How about Table Rock, Table Rock? Brandon and I were out there this morning. Look at this nice photo that Brandon and I picked up some really nice sized bluegill. Boy, when you get them hand size, boy, I tell you, they're fun to catch. And if you want a nice bluegill dinner, man, it don't take many of those. You can go and jerk the britches off those rascals, and I'm telling you, they are delicious. So bluegill are hitting out off some of the points and off those big long gravel points and the drop-offs. We caught a lot of these fish, some of these fish anyway, as down as 20, 25, and even 30 feet of water. A little night crawler, half a night crawler, just a small hook with the split shot up above it. And look here. Hey, look here. Brandon, he caught a nice bass fishing. Now, this is going to happen when you're out bluegilling with night crawlers. This is going to happen. Brandon had this nice bass and caught this rascal, 2.5 pounds probably. nice sized fish on that 4 pound test, that's for sure. So you never know when you're out there bluegill fishing what you might get a hold of. Maybe even a big walleye too, who knows. Speaking of walleye out at Table Rock, they've been picking up some walleye, but boy, they're, you have to work for them, kind of like beaver. They've been trolling the points and down around Baxter. I've had pretty good reports of some nice fish being caught around Baxter on the points. Flicker shads or flicker minnows. Some people have been spooning out there off the points. You might want to look this over, spooning. Wow. And also, they've been using some night crawlers out there as well. No big run. You have to work for them, but when you do get one, generally it's a real nice walleye. Let's get back to the bass fishing at Table Rock. Some topwater fishing in the morning. It's nothing great, but always have that topwater bait ready because you never know when they're going to come out. You need to get out there around 5:30, 6 o'clock if you want a little topwater action on some of the long points and the bluff ends. I've heard this as well. Get your favorite topwater bait out there. You might pick up some fish. And then when the sun gets up, boy, like Brandon and I were out yesterday, and the days we've been out, it's been real calm. Not much wind at all. And that's what we call bluebird days, when there's no clouds, no wind. Yeah, it can be real tough fishing. So when this happens, I tell you what, jig fishing, like get out there with a jig, a 1/4 ounce or a 1/2 ounce, your favorite size, and just get that jig out there. Peanut butter and jelly is good, as we mentioned last week. Put your favorite dressing on it. Make long casts up those points. And we noticed yesterday, Brandon and I, or today I should say actually, this morning, that a lot of these fish were hanging right on the bottom of the points. Looked like they were crawdadding, and that's what they're doing out there. And so they're picking up some fish. You're working for them, but boy, dragging that jig, bass jig, seems to be the ticket. And they've been picking up some fish on drop shots a little bit deeper, especially around some of the standing timber, and getting out there 25, 35, and even 40 feet of water. Use your electronics, and you can pick up some fish getting out there with your drop shots, and maybe even try just some jigs or even some grubs out there, and spoons. Try that, okay? All right, let's go. I tell you what, over at Lake Taneycomo, it's tough fishing in the morning, I think. They're running a little bit of water, but that water is so clear at Taneycomo now. And boy, you have to get out there with light line, nothing over 4. A lot of people like to use 2-pound tests with small jigs, and but if you would, this weekend, I think it's going to be bright all weekend, but the night crawlers have been still the best bait out there for live bait, without a doubt. Catfish Rick and I were out there the other day, and they wouldn't touch anything but night crawlers. So if you're going there this weekend, try night crawlers. And the morning's been a little tough, but it has been this week. In late morning and early afternoon, they've been releasing more water, so the drift fishing's a little bit better. So you might get out and try some trout fishing at Lake Taneycomo this weekend. Over at Bull Shoals, well, they're in the summer pattern. About the last, we've been talking the last 2 or 3 weeks, getting out on those big points and getting out there in deep water and throwing out along those points, and getting those jigs down there, and dragging jigs, casting jigs. Some people have been using some grub fishing out there. Finding shad, that's the main thing. Get on these big points, secondary points, cruise those areas until you find some activities with your locators with some shad, and of course some bass, and you'll have a chance picking up some fish. And they've been picking up some bass also at times using a Ned rig. And topwater fishing's fair, nothing great, but always have that topwater bait at your fingertips. Just like Table Rock, you never know when a little school might bust up on top. Maybe pick up a fish or two. And walleye, we've had some fair reports on walleye this week as well, but here again, it's been so bright, a lot of bluebird days out there. You have to get out early in the morning, maybe late evening, and troll these points and secondary points in the flats. Just like we've been talking the last couple of weeks, you might pick yourself up a walleye. Some people have been spooning too out there off those deep water points. With your electronics, boy, look, if anything's on the bottom off some of these points, get out there with a grub or spoon. Man, you might catch yourself a walleye at Bull Shoals. Okay, let's go out to Stockton. Hey, boy, I tell you what, our photo of the week. I didn't forget you, photo of the week. Bob Bennett, good fisherman out at Stockton. He was out just the other day. Look at this beautiful walleye. Isn't that a great picture? Hey, good going, Bob. My golly, real nice walleye. Photo of the week, Stockton, Bob Bennett. Good going. And I've had several reports of walleye being caught out at Stockton this week. And anywhere from 15 on the point, secondary points, to 25 to 30 feet of water. No huge run, but they are picking up walleye out there. So get out and try it. Some people have been using a jig and night crawler. A little bit, the reports I'm getting, a couple of weeks ago they were catching some fish trolling these points, but it seems like they're wanting that night crawler right now, a jig and night crawler combination. And if that don't work, maybe troll. Get your flicker shad or flicker minnow. Hey, but they are picking up some walleye out at Stockton. And I've had reports that the white bass are starting to move a little bit more out there. This is the time of the year they can come up in school anytime, or fish, catch them with your electronics, find them out there and pick up a few white bass. And we've had some reports like last week we talked, just like Brandon and I got into them today, those big bluegill. They're still catching some nice bluegill out there in around 25 feet of water, and they've been using small hook, split shot, and part of a night crawler. And when they do find them, boy, they're pretty nice size out at Stockton. And the catfishing's been good at Stockton. We've had reports some nice cats being caught on cut shad and drifting some of the points and secondary points and some of the flats out there. So Stockton looks like it may be a pretty good bet for the upcoming weekend. Okay, let's go out at Truman. Here's another great photo for you. Adam Scat was out the other day with that young fella. Look at that down below the dam at the outlet. A beautiful photo. Great photo, guys. My God, I love that photo. Caught that nice hybrid. They've been catching some nice hybrids below the dam. Been picking up some nice crappie, as I mentioned the last couple of weeks here on the program. They're catching a lot of small crappie below the dam. But boy, when you get into that school of nice ones, there's some nice crappie being caught down there below the dam at Truman. So they've been drifting for those, or just getting out there and doing some minnow fishing mainly, catching those crappie. And boy, the hybrids, that's always fun. And of course, they've been catching catfish out there below the dam, drifting, cut shad. Some people have been anchoring, catching them. And boy, I've had a report of a couple of big ones caught the last couple of days out there. So Truman would be fun. Get out there below that dam. Now, out on the main lake, folks, boy, it's getting better and better all the time. You know, they've had all that high water. They've had dirty water. It's clearing up, and that high water's not keeping those crappie from moving out there. We've had still another good report on crappie being caught back in some of the creek arms, to Pomme de Terre arm. They've been catching some up there and getting in those big trees. You know, they're flooded. Get down there and find some trees, 25, 30, 35 feet of water, and get that minnow. They're hitting minnows best, and just kind of go to the bottom of that minnow. That's what I used to do out there, and just kind of move it up slowly and find that comfort zone where those crappie are. A lot of times they're around 15 to 18 feet in those big trees, but they are picking up some nice crappie out on the main lake at Truman. And also, still getting some pretty good reports, some bass fishing out at Truman in the early morning hours. Always have a top water ready. But I tell you, those big worms are still working out there, and a few crankbaits. And they've been picking up, in that KK Island area again, a few nice walleye have been caught by jigging with a night crawler and also trolling out there, occasionally picking up a walleye. And they've been picking up some hybrids by trolling as well. That KK Island, that's always a good area to fish. So Truman looks pretty good. Still getting good reports at Lake the Ozarks. As I mentioned, nice cats being caught up below the dam at the outlet, the upper end of Lake the Ozarks. But you go down, start going downriver and hit those points. And they've been catching some nice cats by drifting shad off the points. And I've had some pretty good reports, those points with those sunken brush piles out at Lake the Ozarks. They've been trolling these areas. And we mentioned this last week, and picking up some nice crappie at Lake the Ozarks. Boy, the boys who know what they're doing out there are really picking up some nice fish, nice crappie. And the bass fishing at Lake the Ozarks has been pretty fair as well. They've been picking up some bass on top waters, also some crankbait, and flipping Texas-style plastic worms. So Lake the Ozarks looks pretty good. But I tell you, I've had good reports on the crappie out on the main lake, that Lake the Ozarks. Some real nice fishing around some of the docks too. Look this over. Okay, that's Pomme. You know, we've had fair reports on Pomme. They've been having some good bass fishing out there. My gosh, they've been catching some real nice bass on top water in the morning hours. And the evening hours, I understand, slow rolling spinner baits, also some swim baits, and they've been picking up some bass out at Pomme on plastic worms and flipping jigs too. So you may want to try this. Few crappie have been caught out there this week, but nothing great around some of the docks. But you might want to check that out. Norfolk, early morning. Boy, we're getting another good report this week of early morning bass fishing, topwater at, of course, that lake's high, but I tell you, in some of that new flood of brush and timber, getting out there with pop R's, boop, pop, 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 that's paying off. And also they're doing some, pitching out some Texas-style plastic worms at Norfolk. I understand there's still a few big stripers occasionally being caught. Deep water, summertime fishing. Big spoons out there in 60, 65, and even 70 feet of water. You have to look at your electronics and see if you can find some big old stripers out at Norfolk. There's some big ones there as well. And I've had some pretty good reports at Norfolk. The catfishing has been fairly good. Here again on cut shad. And so that looks good for the upcoming weekend. Well, you know, boy, I tell you, I want to thank my buddy Brandon for going out with me today. We love to fish together. We are buddies. Caught those big bluegill, and Brandon caught a bass or two, and it looks good for the upcoming weekend if you want to get out there and try some bluegill fishing. Boy, the kids will love this. Hey, Grandpa too, take them all out fishing this weekend at Table Rock for those big bluegill. I want to thank you very much for being with us today. We've got some great photos coming your way. Be sure to like and share. We really appreciate that. And I tell you what, be sure to subscribe. Put it up there, Brandon. Just push that subscribe button. We always like to have our subscribers over on YouTube. And once again, thank you all you viewers over on Facebook. Over 15,000 this week. Ooh, boy, it was a lot of fun. And if you have any photos you'd like to send us, be sure to send us photos on our email. Email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. God bless you all. Get out and get bit this weekend. Take plenty of water. It's going to be a little warm this weekend. And now we're going to sit back and relax and roll those photos, Brandon. Happy outdoors, everyone.